Hello out there? Anybody out there? We're on the air. What's up? Nobody's here. Sad start to the show today. That's okay. Thursday. We're going to have a heck of a show today. We got lots to talk about. We got lots of exciting things happening in the world. And eventually, someone will show up. Maybe the stream's just not loading. It happened yesterday too. I don't know. I had to restart my computer this morning because it's still pretty buggy. Anyways, good to see you, everybody. Welcome, YouTube. Welcome, Zap.stream. Welcome to everybody listening later on the Fountain app, earning some free Bitcoin. Make sure to, send some back. Send a little boosty back if you've been liking the show, if you've been enjoying it. It's a nice thing about the technology that's being built right now is that I know there are some people who are on the show here for the YouTube channel. There's some people who are living in the future, the private community we got going. But if you just want to support the show without signing up for a monthly membership, you can. You go to Zap.stream or you go to the Fountain app and you can send a couple sats or a couple hundred sats or a couple thousand sats or a couple million sats. That's one thing I was thinking about this morning though. But anyways, let's keep things on track slightly here. Welcome to another edition of the Daily Bitcoin Journey. This is episode 5,303. Feels like it. It's probably about 160, I'd say 160, 170 maybe. Anyways, we've been pretty good on here. Scarpelli is in the house. We got lots of people in the live chat or the watching, but not a whole lot of people in the live chat. So I'm going to give a shout out to everybody here in a couple minutes for the people who watch the show, listen to the show, but don't say anything on the show. I get it, but I'm going to give you an option here. Okay. Are we live on Zap.stream? Yeah, we are. There's a couple people on there. Zapstream's been kind of buggy lately for me. I had to reset all my settings on there again. But anyways, Scarpelli, good morning. We're going to stick with your good morning for a couple of minutes here. Welcome to the Daily Bitcoin Journey. This is actionable, logical discussion for Bitcoiners and for future Bitcoiners. The goal of this show is to escape the fiat system. We're going to learn about ways to do it, how to do it, the tools to do it. But that's the goal, is we all know what's wrong with the old system. It's glaringly obvious at this point where everybody watching this show is wide awake to what's happening. So our goal here is very simple, somewhat. We just need to move away from that system every day, one day at a time, almost 1 hour at a time. You really have to take a good look at your day and look how much you're continuing to support that old system, whether you know it or not. Things you watch, whatever you consume, things you watch, things you listen to, the food you eat, everything has an impact on keeping that old system alive. So we're trying to move out of that. And thank God there are tools available now. One of those things is Bitcoin, which we talk about a lot. One of those things is NOSTR, which we talk about a lot. And Zap.stream is another one. Most days. All right. So today's show is titled, Are You Ready for What's Coming? And after titling the show in the shower, I was listening to Are You Ready from AC/DC. We were talking about Thunderstruck last week, our drinking game called Thunderstruck. September long here this weekend, so you can give that game a spin if you want to get obliterated on the long weekend. Oh, I got to be careful with my mouse. I got to be a little bit quieter with the mouse. But the other song, I feel like this is one of the most underrated AC/DC, probably the most underrated AC/DC songs out there. Are you ready? Are you ready for a good time? You heard it? I love that song. And it was never really a mainstream song, I don't think. AC/DC's got a lot of bangers that are very mainstream, but Are You Ready is their best, I think. Most underrated for sure. But I was thinking about this. I was thinking about micropayments, I was thinking about NOSTR, I was thinking about Bitcoin, I was thinking about the show. And I wanted to start the show with that song. Wouldn't that be cool? You could start a live show with a song instead of having to ask permission from 5,000 people to do it and then get your channel shut down. So I see, and the reason why I think this makes sense is because the current system that we have, the YouTube's kind of in control of everything that you use. If you use an audio clip or a song that's copyrighted, they have the AI to detect that very quickly. And so they give you a warning, or they demonetize the video that it's included in, which is fair. That's kind of the only way to do it. And the old system just doesn't allow for the way I see it. And I think that this could work and probably will work one day, is that if you have a platform, or if you have let's say an app or a client on NOSTR, and what the beauty of NOSTR is that everything's kind of tied together. So you don't have to go from this walled garden to this one and enter a new password, and they're disconnected, and it's just a complete shit show right now, the internet. But if everything was kind of connected and I wanted to say, okay, I'm going to go live, I want to use this song, I can pay for this song, and if I pay for it, then I don't get demonetized, or I don't get my channel shut down. So in the old system, that would never work, because you can't just make payments of like 3 cents or 5 cents. I would have to either buy a membership, or I would have to pay like $5 just because there's so many people taken from that $5 payment, right? But with Bitcoin now, with NOSTR, with micropayments and Lightning, I could pay like 100 sats or 50 sats to start the show with some AC/DC. That's fine. I'm happy to do that, because it's like 3 cents right now, or whatever it is, or 5 sats in 10 years when this is a thing. But it just makes too much sense. And that's the whole thing to me of why this is going to work, why we're going to win, why we're right about Bitcoin and NOSTR, is because it just makes too much sense. We finally have a currency for the internet called Bitcoin. We finally have the ability to make micropayments on the internet using Lightning, using NOSTR. It's here. It just makes too much sense. So the only lag now is just people figuring it out. So that's why we're here. That's why we exist. Good morning, Craig. It is, by the way, over on Zap.stream. I know that it doesn't even say my goal there today. It doesn't even say my goal. It's Open Sats Thursday today. Let's try that, see if that works. No, it didn't. Zap.stream. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay, so it is Open Sats Thursday today, which means that every Satoshi, every Zap over on Zap.stream is going to flow directly into the Open Sats fund. I think we have quite a bit in there already. I want to say we have close to 30, 40,000. The nice thing about Zap.stream is it actually shows us how far we've gone in our goal. 100 million, that's my goal, 100 million sats. That's a pretty aggressive goal. But anyways, it shows us. So there's no need to trust me. We can verify it here through the Zap.stream. So anyways, all the sats today are going towards the Open Sats Development Fund. And we're going to let it accrue a little bit. We'll probably get a UTXO maybe out of it, and then make a contribution to the Open Sats Fund. And we'll make a post. The people who donated will get a little shout out. I try to give a shout out every Thursday on NOSTR for whoever contributed that week. So pretty cool. We're in a good spot. Very exciting spot. Okay, well, we got lots to talk about here today, and we don't have a lot of time. We don't have a lot of time. Mempool, where are we at? Hold on, I'll catch up on some chats here. Been horrible at it. Adam, good morning. Timber Crasher, one of our Bitcoin journeymen, and one of our Living the Future members. Muslim Bitcoiner, what do we got today? A solemn. NVIDIA earnings were meh, so they decided to do some stock buybacks. Genius. Guess they learned nothing from the sailor strategy. No doubt. Isn't it crazy? You have all these smart people, all of this money flowing into it. There's a playbook right in front of their eyes of how this thing works, and hardly anybody is doing it. Just imagine if NVIDIA, if Apple, if Microsoft, if Dell if GameStop, we've seen similar scientific buying Bitcoin, 1,000 Bitcoin, and see how much publicity they got, how much their share jumped up. Like, this stuff it's not hard. It's really not hard. Cold deck with an E. I like the cold deck with an E. That's when I first started the daily Bitcoin journey, one of my taglines, one of my introductions was going to be, welcome to the daily Bitcoin journey, a show that we will never abbreviate. And if you understand that, then I'll leave it at that. Timber Crasher, drop a like. Yeah, do that. Drop a like. Zap some sats for the open sats fund today. We got Mondays for the dogs and we got Thursdays for the open sats fund. I'm sure we'll fill the whole week with something to do, but in the meantime, we got Craig zapped 2,100 sats for the open sats fund. We got Plunger zapped 1,000 sats for the open sats fund. And Craig shared a music solution with digital rights. What do we got here? Apt.licked. Oh, the app's called Licked. Okay, I'll definitely have to check that one out. It looks like so you can buy a subscription with this, or how would this translate into my YouTube channel? That's what I'd like to do. Yeah, so here's okay. This looks pretty legit. I will show it on screen here. My wish was granted. I can share this on screen. So this looks like the top says it's, where did I see that? So this says not subscribed, premium tracks for $32 per license. See, that's what I mean. And this is just my very first glance, so I don't know the ins and outs of this, but this is kind of exactly what I'm talking about, except $32 per license. I'm not paying that. I want to pay 32 sats to use a song before the show. And the system we have now does not allow for that, because if you tried to do a 5-cent payment and you have a bank, my bank, and you have another bank, and you have the platform in between, everybody wants to get a piece of that 5 cents. And there's only 5 cents there. So there's not a whole lot of motivation for these people to do this. But now we have the ability. Now we have sats, and we don't need to have 3 or 4 middlemen there. It's just peer-to-peer. So if I want to pay for AC/DC's song at the start of the show, we don't need app.lick. They might get like a 1%, 1 sat maybe, but the rest goes to AC/DC, their wallet. And yeah, I know it's going to take some time because we're so used to this system that we have now, and everything takes so much time to change, especially when there's so many people who are milking that system that don't want that system to change. It takes a lot of time, but humans always flock towards efficiency and the best product. So we'll get there. Silver Fox and Timber Crasher, a couple more of our journeymen. AD, good morning, buddy. Ian, we got Johnny Midas. Look at that. Greetings, Jor. All caps with some palm trees. Must be on vacation. Johnny Midas, that's a great name. Heck of a name. We got Django, Thiago, Bodie. Bitcoin changes everything. Good morning, visionaries. What are we going to build for NOSTR? Do you have a vision for that? What is it? Great question, actually. If you're interested in, I've just been crushing out the NOSTR videos the last couple of days here. I've been trying to do and I probably will do it. I don't want to make any promises or anything, but I really want to do like a summary of everything that happened at Nostriga, and just like the top moments or the top takeaways from Nostriga. I'm slowly getting through the list, but one of the ones I watched last night, we're actually going to watch on the second part of the show today. And I think it was AD maybe who sent it in the chat, in the Discord group. Let me double check that. I like giving credit, but I don't want to give wrong credit to people. Oh, I didn't share this on. Yeah, it was AD. So I was very happy to see this last night. We have a NOSTR thread on Discord where everybody posts their NPubs in there, and we can obviously find each other, follow each other on there. But last night there was a new thread created called NOSTR General. So pretty excited. I said that made my day. It means that we're making correct progress here in terms of the community and the NOSTR. All right, we got Akil zapped 1,000 sats over in zap.stream. Thank you. And we got Mav21 in the chat. Good morning. 2,100 sats for the Open Sats Fund. Heck yeah. Mav21 says short the banks, buy Bitcoin. And Mav21 also says the YouTube chat needs to join us over on zap.stream. I agree. I think the beauty of kind of what's been happening with the show is I noticed the total viewers on YouTube just keeps going up and up and up, like the live viewers and the zap.stream. So I think slowly what's happening is there's more people watching the stream, but there's also people moving over to zap.stream. So this number goes up. We're finding more people on the YouTube. That number goes up. And both of them are just going to keep going up. So if you're on YouTube, consider today just going to zap.stream. Type it into your browser, zap.stream. And there's like probably 3 videos that are live right now. It's still very early in the zap.stream phase or days, but click the Daily Bitcoin Journey there. Watch it there. You can check out the chat. You can send some sats. You don't need a NOSTR account to do it. You can set up a profile, but it's pretty badass. So shout out to Mav for the sats and for the push for people there. I think that the end goal for this channel, and the thing about this too, is I was talking about the song at the start of the show there. I'm pretty sure if we just streamed to zap.stream, like I could play whatever I wanted on there. Whether that's right or wrong, that's a different question, but we definitely wouldn't need YouTube's permission to do it. So that's kind of the end goal for this whole thing, is to kind of move everybody from the centralized platform of YouTube over to zap.stream and over to the private communities that we're going to be building. Let me just post this on the NOSTR that we're live. Forgot to do that. Join us in the live chat. How about that? Did you guys see yesterday Odell did an interview with Fran Finney, Hal Finney's wife. It's pretty good. I didn't catch all of it yet, but it was pretty cool. I've heard a couple different interviews. I think Peter did one from What Bitcoin Did, but Odell's was pretty good. They did a little moment of silence. It was his 10-year anniversary since Hal passed away from ALS. So that was pretty cool too. Shout out to Odell for that. And that's, one of the things that I love about zap.stream. We're doing for the rescue dogs. We're doing for the Open Sats Fund. But yesterday when Odell was doing his show, like Fran is raising money. They do, I think it's called running for Bitcoin or running Bitcoin. It's like a fundraiser to, support research for ALS. And the cool thing is that they were able to do the stream on zap.stream, and people were able to send sats in, and all those sats, similar to like we're doing with the Open Sats Fund here, Odell's given all those sats to the ALS Fran's Fund. Pretty cool. Like I love that. Okay. Well, let's get to the mempool. We're supposed to do this 10 minutes ago, but we got busy. Okay, quickly on the mempool, let's see what's going on. Not too much to report. It's been it's like deja vu, Groundhog Day here. We're currently sitting at 858,966, the block height. If you're transacting on the Bitcoin Layer 1 network, you're paying about 4 sats per VByte. Very reasonably priced transaction fees today. And it's been like that for a while. So nothing to report there. Mara cleaning up, Foundry. Where's Antpool? Oh, Antpool hasn't hit one for a while. I like to see that. We don't love Antpool, but at the same time, Bitcoin is for everybody, and whoever has the most energy and power to put into the Bitcoin network gets rewarded for it. So Stack and Chill says, smash the likes, and no, nobody is ready for what's coming. I absolutely agree with that. I'm not ready for what's coming. How many people, by a show of hands here, how many people have been through one bull run here? Is this your first time, or have you been through one before? Have you been through two before? Probably don't tell us if you've been through two before, because then we know you're rich. That's the thing in Bitcoin. Like they have all these conferences, they have all these different things and interviews and whatever else, retreats. And I always see them. I'm one of the live stream viewers because I can't afford to go to these conferences yet. And I always feel like, man, how come I don't have enough Bitcoin, and how come I don't have enough money to go to these conferences? Like, what the hell? But you have to keep in mind here that the people who have a name for themselves in Bitcoin, the people who are able to go to these conferences, the people who are able to make big donations for funds and stuff like that, they've been in Bitcoin for a long time, and nothing's going to change. The only thing that we have to do is just wait, be patient, because eventually you're going to go through one cycle, you're going to go through two cycles, you're going to go through three cycles, and every cycle you're going to become much more wealthy, and you're going to have that ability. But the only thing missing there is time. You're doing the right things. You're buying Bitcoin. You're learning about Bitcoin. You're learning how to protect that Bitcoin. But all you need now is just a bit of time for Bitcoin to ultimately do its thing. So keep that in mind. Never get discouraged of where you're at, how much Bitcoin you have, how much of a reach you have. Just be glad that you're here today. Scarpelli says, hey man, I just sent you an email about offering help with your live stream yesterday. You briefly mentioned it. Just wanted to give you a heads up. There you go. Scarpelli coming in hot. See what we can do here. I don't know. We'll see. I'll see what's going on here. I don't really want to be putting a burden on anybody right now. I mean, I do a fairly simple show, but at the same time, you could always use improvement. And if there's people willing to help out, then nice thing about that is, I don't have to form a company and hire Scarpelli. I can just send him some Bitcoin for his help. Yeah. Okay. Look at this. This is another example of Zaps. I'll share another one right after this as well. But Adam says, yesterday I went to a local tire store to get a small volleyball tire filled up with air. It would have been nice if I could have zapped the guy for helping me out. It's things like that in life where you just go somewhere, they don't charge you for anything. They have the equipment, the infrastructure, whatever it is, just to help you out with whatever you need. And they don't charge you anything, because it's like, what are they going to charge you? $3 to fill up a volleyball tire? So in cases like that, it'd be nice when we can just, do you got a lightning wallet? Or we might not even know what that is. We'll just say, here, I'll give you a tip. People might not even know we're using NOSTR and Bitcoin in 10 years from now. We'll just be sending money around the internet, small payments, and it's going to be great. The other thing too, what else was I going to say there? Oh, there was a post I saw on NOSTR yesterday, and the guy's like, NOSTR's great for splitting up payments. So what happened here, and I was kind of confused with what happened in this scenario, because there was a post that I saw, and it just said, zap me, bitch. Did you guys see that? It just said, zap me, bitch. And there was like 500,000 sats that were zapped towards this post. And I saw the grinder said, I'm going to try this tomorrow too. But what I didn't know about that was these people were out for supper. They might've been at the conference or wherever it was, but this guy or girl must've paid for supper. And then he posted this, and then everybody who ate supper on his tab was able to zap him for it. So it looked like he just said, zap me, bitch. And there was a whole bunch of people sending these huge amount of zaps to him, but really people were just repaying for the supper that they just ate. So very similar to like a Venmo or a PayPal, like we kind of have that already, but at the same time, you still need Venmo's permission. You still need PayPal's permission. It still connects to your bank account, which has all of your information on it. You could spin up an NPub like before supper, create an account, make a post. And that's what they said too, is that they didn't really need to make a post. They could have just zapped his profile or her profile, but it's cool this way. So like the implications and the use cases for NOSTR are absolutely unlimited, and we haven't even considered 99% of them yet. Kind of cool. AD says, just finished watching all the Nostriga videos. Exciting stuff, but lots of work to be done. I agree with that. Very exciting. But the other thing too, in the graphic that we showed on the daily Bitcoin journey the other day, is the amount of developers who are actually working on Nostr right now. If you compare it to Twitter, Blue Sky, I think Fartcaster was the other one I'd never heard of, but like the amount of developers working on Nostr were probably like 10x the second amount of developers. Timber Crasher says, I'll start watching on Zapstream when they can do background play. Yeah, that's something I struggle with too, honestly, especially since I have YouTube Premium now. I'm pretty used to that. Like just being able to be on my phone and listen to something. So it'll come though. It'll come. And they probably won't charge you $12 a month for it either. All right. Scarpelli says this is first bull run. Ooh. Silver Fox, first one. Timber Crasher, first one. Oh, you guys are in for a wild ride. I can't even put it into words how crazy it is. When things really start moving, we're not ready for it. And this time is going to be, we have all of Wall Street that's going to be there too this time. This is the first cycle we're going through with Wall Street there, with the big money there. So last time it was just like a bunch of retail people, like small purchases, but this time is going to be mental. Rock and Roll says, every cycle you keep realizing there is no second best, and everyone eventually becomes a triple maxi. Or in Rock and Roll's case, a quadruple maxi. All right, I just got to share one email here to a couple people, because we do have a couple people who are in the Living in the Future community who decided that they don't want to put in their information and decide that they would rather just pay in Bitcoin. So I got to do it a little bit more caveman style here, but it still works. So if you're interested, if you're somebody who wants to be part of our Living in the Future community and you'd rather not pay in fiat, then you can just send a Bitcoin payment. I've been doing it for 1-year terms, and it's a pretty good discount on it since it's Bitcoin and not fiat. But just wanted to throw that out there for people in case you're interested. All right, let me do this quickly and then we'll keep going. Parker, good morning, my friend. Haven't seen you for a while. Pablo, good morning. Oh, I didn't know this. AD says if you use a VPN set to USA, YouTube lets your background play without premium on non-music videos. What? YouTube just is discriminating against Canadians? I'm sure Trudeau fucked that up. I'm in a Randy mood today. Randy or Rami? I don't know. I saw yesterday that the government of Canada, this is wild. The government of Canada, the health minister of Canada, I don't know if you've seen him before. He's the guy who said that kids don't want to take shouldn't be taking road trips because it hurts the environment. They don't want to be sitting in the car all day. Did you guys see that interview or that thing he made in Parliament? He's an absolute clown. I mean, you couldn't pick worse people to be running this country, honestly. But anyways, our health minister, I think his name is Mark Holland. And I think it was, you guys know Zins, like the nicotine pouches in the US, Zins. There was one in Canada that they were making called Zonix. And they just decided like this, they just kind of started selling these like a month or two ago. And they were nicotine pouches, 4 milligrams. And he just decided yesterday, nope, that's it. We're wiping them across Canada. We're wiping them off the shelves. claiming that it's we shouldn't be getting people into smoking and chewing, but yet you can still buy cigarettes and you can still buy chewing tobacco at the gas station. But for the people who actually want to quit smoking and try like a pouch or whatever it is, they're gone. And if you've actually done some research into nicotine before, like it's actually it helps. It helps you quit smoking. It helps with focus. It helps with, there's a bunch of different benefits for it. Obviously, just like everything, there's trade-offs. But the Canadian government just decided right across Canada, we're pulling these off the shelves. Can't buy them anymore. Honestly, makes me sick to my stomach. Just the fact that they have the control and the ability to do that. Okay, I'm gonna get on a tangent here, so I better shut up. I better have a warm glass of shut the hell up. Let's do our giveaway for today. Bitcoin Well. Who wants some Bitcoin? Oh, yesterday, I forget who it was now, but whoever won sent a little zap to Arnie after they won. I forget who it was now. There's somebody in the live chat. But anyways, thank you for that. That's pretty cool. Where is Arnie? He's whining. I can hear him. Should we let him in? Should we let him in? Let's do this. Let's play now. All right. So get your phones out, just like we do every day here. We're going to give away some Bitcoin. Some Biddy. Free Biddy. We're going to let in Arnie first, though, I think. Hey, buddy. What's going on? Okay, here we go. Ready? Set. Toss. $500 sats. Once again, we're on a bit of a cold streak here. We had a couple big ones, but we've hit a cold streak here. The fellow who signed up for Bitcoin Well the other day, one of his tosses, if you use the code BitcoinWell /Jor, one of the incentives that Adam from Bitcoin Well gave is you actually get 5 free tosses into the wishing well. So he hit a 21,000 spin for this one. Just going to make sure that this is gone. Been claimed. 21,000 sats to start your Bitcoin Well journey. So there you have it. That's the free Bitcoin for the day that is sponsored by Bitcoin Well. If you're in Canada or if you're in the US, make sure to grab yourself a Bitcoin Well account. Just go to bitcoinwell.com/Jor. And you get 5 free tosses. Really cool things you're doing on there. I'm a big fan of Bitcoin Well. They got 1% fee. That's their spread, 1%. And they actually don't hold any Bitcoin. So you can... Hello? We're doing a show here, bud. You can actually... They don't hold Bitcoin. So you buy it there and you send it directly to your... Arnie, you're going to have to stop that or you're going to get locked out of here. To your cold storage. Holy, Arnie's fully back. I don't know if you guys saw the video I posted last night. I think I posted it too late. That's a tough thing with NOSTR. Is it's not like other social media where if, there's no algorithms there. So if you post it too late, nobody sees it. It's just all chronological order. But I posted a video of Arnie last night and he was going absolutely wild. Every night he goes fucking crazy. Gets the zoomies. So if you have me out in NOSTR, you might have to scroll down my feed a little bit, but watch the video of Arnie last night. Hilarious. If you need a good laugh today. Okay. Yeah, Cold Deck says, what hasn't Trudeau effed up? No doubt. Mikkel or Mikkel? When are you going stash only? 100K? No. I'd say 1 million, but I probably won't ever do it. I don't want to spend any of my life looking like a pedophile. Just not. Some guys can pull off a mustache. Not I. I'm a beard guy. But good question. Good question. Maybe if we ever get a 1 million sad zap, I'll shave a mustache. But there's only going to be a certain amount of people who hear that, and I doubt it'll happen, but maybe we'll do that. If we get a million sad zap on Zapstream or to this wallet, then I'll shave a mustache and clean. I haven't been clean shaved for probably 10 years now, honestly. I don't like the look of it. I'd probably look 5 years younger if I shaved my face, and probably another 5 years younger if I cut my hair. But I'm not in the business of looking younger. I want to look like I know what I'm talking about, you know? So there you go. 1 million sad zap bounty for the mustache. Akil over on Zapstream says, I had a situation very recently. I got added to one local maxi group. I saw people posting stuff and referrals for some exchanges. Those were non-KYC. I posted Robinhood crypto referral and they kicked me out of the group. Really? That's kind of wild. Oh, because Robinhood has crypto, they kicked you out. That must be a maxi group. I mean, you can be a triple maxi or a quadruple maxi, but you also have to understand that Bitcoin's not going to be the only asset that we have. It's just not. It's going to be the asset. It's going to be the one that's worth the most, but there's going to be a whole bunch of different cryptos that are used. I mean, even look at other countries right now. There's a bunch of countries who use Tron. There's a bunch of people who use Litecoin. Like, they're not going to go away, but you still just need a fixed, scarce asset like Bitcoin that you can peg everything to and value everything in. All right, let's get to some news. Look at this. Oh no, they didn't demonetize me. I wonder what happened yesterday. It must have been that speech from Andreas, maybe. But it says, hi, 88 Sats Radio. Copyrighted content has been detected in your video, exiting the fiat system. Oh yeah, the visibility of your video is not impacted, but you can no longer monetize it. Fuck YouTube. Man, what a piss off. What's the point? What's the point? All right, let's watch this video from RFK. I saw this last night and it really made me think about a few things. So it's long. This is an interview with Dr. Phil and RFK. And he's talking about the healthcare industry, and he's talking about the government spending. And he's talking about instead of spending it on things that are horrible for people, maybe we should be using that money for things that are actually helpful to people. So as I've said before, every time, Rick, yeah, I know I'm horrible. I keep forgetting that they have very good software that can detect every word that I say. And I shouldn't be saying things like F YouTube if I don't want any attention on me. But, sometimes it's hard to have a filter when things are this stupid. So here we go. Let's watch, like I said, every time I watch RFK, I like him a little bit more. And this is an interview he did with Dr. Phil talking about government spending.
The insurance companies you would think would want us healthy, but they actually make more money if we get sicker. And then, of course, the pharmaceutical companies, if you have a chronic disease, you're a lifetime patient. This drug, Ozempic, cost $1,500 for a week. And there's now a bill before Congress that would force the insurance companies, Medicare, to pay for it for every American who's obese. Well, that's 74% of our population.
Right.
That's going to be $3 trillion a year. And for a tiny fraction of that, you could give every American 3 meals a day of organic food, and diabetes would disappear overnight. Diabetes is treatable with food,
Right.
with exercise, and obesity is. The insurance companies you would think would want us healthy, but
$3 trillion. So that's kind of what's happening right now in the US, is they're trying to push forward this bill where Medicare has to pay for Ozempic. And he said that 74% of Americans are considered obese, and probably not all of them are going to go on Ozempic. So it's kind of an unrealistic number there. But at the same time, that's exactly how the whole system works. And, you know, it's not so much about the amount, and it's not so much about the government paying for things that we do. But at the same time, they're already paying that amount. He used $3 trillion. So he said that instead of paying $3 trillion to give obese people Ozempic, a shortcut that's very, very unhealthy with a ton of very bad side effects, give people healthy food. Like we've been talking about seed oils on this channel for the last little while, since RFK's been bringing it to light. But think about that. Do I think that people should get 3 meals per day on their food, on their plate? No. But I also don't think that anybody on earth should be starving. And the video we'll watch next kind of ties into this thing in terms of exactly what's happening here, where when a small group of people has the ability to print money, it affects everybody except the rich. I mean, it does affect the rich people. They get richer from it. But everybody else gets nothing from it. They get poorer. And so instead of spending that money on Ozempic and shortcuts and making people unhealthy and giving them a ton of side effects, use that money and feed people. No person on earth, never mind just in America, no person on earth should be starving. Everybody, there's enough abundance in this world that no person should be starving. No person should be sleeping on the street. The whole cause of that is fiat. And Bitcoin isn't the answer to everything, but the one thing that it does take away is their ability to print money and their ability to wipe out the poor, wipe out the middle class, enrich themselves. That's what Bitcoin takes away. It takes away their ability to print money, because every dollar they print, it doesn't just make your life harder, it makes your neighbor's life harder. And the people it doesn't make their life harder are the people who are printing the money. So Bitcoin completely gets rid of that whole dynamic. And I don't love the expression that Bitcoin fixes everything, but Bitcoin would fix that. It takes away their ability to print money and to take away your energy, your work, devalue your savings in your everyday life while enriching themselves. That's what it does. It takes away that dynamic. Oh, I had an Instagram video of disc golf. Maybe I'll just share that on Signal later. I wanted to share it for Daniel. I saw a pretty interesting disc golf shot, but I'll post it on NOSTR too, maybe. This is another one of our favorite guys. We got RFK, we got Ron Paul, we got Andreas Antonopoulos. We've had a pretty good lineup these last couple of days on the show. So this is Ron Paul talking about, kind of tying into what RFK was just talking about there. This is an older video, obviously, but Ron Paul, absolute legend. A lot of Bitcoiners are here because of Ron Paul. But let's listen to what he has to say about exactly what we were just talking about.
I think this is not a consequence of free markets. What's happening is there's transfer of wealth from the poor and the middle class to the wealthy. This comes about because of the monetary system that we have. When you inflate a currency or destroy a currency, the middle class gets wiped out. So the people who get to use the money first, which is created by the Federal Reserve System, benefit. So the money gravitates to the banks and to Wall Street. So that's why you have more billionaires than ever before. Today, this country is in the middle of a recession for a lot of people. Michigan knows about it. Poor people know about it. The middle class knows about it. Wall Street doesn't know about it. Washington, D.C. doesn't know about it. but it's because of the monetary system and the excessive spending. As long as we live beyond our means, we are destined to live beneath our means, and we have lived beyond our means because we are financing a foreign policy that is so extravagant and beyond what we can control, as well as the spending here at home, and we're depending on the creation of money out of thin air, which is nothing more than debasement of the currency. It's counterfeit, and it is a natural, predictable consequence that you're going to have people benefit from it and other people suffer. So if you want a healthy economy, you have to study monetary theory and figure out why it is that we're suffering, and everybody doesn't suffer equally, or this wouldn't be so bad. It's always the poor people, those on retired incomes, that suffer the most. But the politicians and those who get to use the money first, like the military-industrial complex, they make a lot of money and they benefit from it.
I don't need to say anything on that. He said it all. It's wild what's happening. And he talked about the military industrial complex, but there's so many more people now. There's not only that. There's Ukraine. There's Big Pharma. There's these new gender study programs. Everybody's getting the money except for the people who really need it. And it is truly disgusting what's happening, and we're kind of at the end of it. We've been going through this for the last 50 years. We're kind of at the end of it now. The shitty thing is that there's going to be a lot of people who suffer through this next part, transitioning out of that fiat system, the slavery system, into a Bitcoin standard. And what I kind of wanted to get from that is that we don't really have to wait around for that to die. We don't have to wait. I've said this in the last couple of days, but there's nobody that's going to come on TV and say that we're officially on a Bitcoin standard. You can make that decision today. You can make the decision to take your time, your energy, your resources, your capital, pull it out of that old system and start contributing, building, and just pushing this forward. We can do that today. We have the ability. I know that there are people who are watching the show today who are already there or making the first steps towards that. And thank God for Bitcoin. Thank God for NOSTR, because we have the tools now to be able to do that. So that's kind of the point of this whole show, really. At the end of the day, is that we're moving out of that system and we're trying to find the best ways to do it. We're trying to find tools to do it and just really helping each other through it. What else did I want to talk about today? Maybe I'll save that for tomorrow. Okay, just two more things. I wanted to share this video because what's his name? Joe Kernigan? I don't know his last name. From MS or CNBC. He's been pretty hot lately. I know that a lot of Bitcoiners are on Team Joe, including myself. I love how he defends Bitcoin and calls people out. This was a clip from yesterday. It looks like somebody from the Biden administration on CNBC talking about unrealized capital gains. So let's take a quick look at this. It's a minute long. I'm sure people saw this, but it's worth watching again. This is from Bitcoin News. And here we go.
Well, unrealized gains, taxing unrealized gains just doesn't seem fair in any sense of the word. In the very best sense, if you are taxing unrealized gains, all you're doing is pulling forward the taxes that would be paid later when someone actually sells the stock.
I think that this reaction to unrealized gains is a little funny, given that I bet that the majority of people watching right now are already paying a tax on unrealized gains. It's called a property tax. When the value of your home goes up,
it's a use tax.
When the value of your home goes up, you pay higher taxes, even if you don't sell your home.
Your value of your home never moves the way the stock moves, the way something else
That's always
moves
the go-to answer.
It's also, property tax is a use tax. You're paying for the schools, you're paying for emergency services. Those are things that make absolute sense.
And sure, and all the revenue that comes in from these unrealized gains taxes and the other taxes in the Harris plan are going to go to creating what she calls more opportunity. It's to make sure that every newborn born in this country gets $6,000.
Using the services.
Well, look, you're arguing that this is some sort of foreign concept that's completely unknown.
It's probably, it's probably unconstitutional. It's probably, and it was never in anyone's intent to,
it's not income.
tax.
It's not an income tax.
And it's never going to happen.
Gain.
God bless Joe. And the lady, I don't know who that lady was, but she was also not having any of that bullshit. Okay, so that was Bharat Rahamarudi. That's one of Kamala Harris's top economic advisors. He seemed like he was a top economic advisor. Did you hear him stumbling on his words? You can tell these people are starting to realize that they're losing grip on reality here, that their illusion is not working anymore on people. When you have CNBC calling out your bullshit, you're in a lot of trouble. So they're talking about taxing unrealized gains. And if you think about what an unrealized gain is, think about your house. We talk about house values all the time here, but think about your house. Let's say your house went from, and this might not be primary residence, it might be rental homes, they might start with that, but regardless of it, let's say your rental house goes from $200,000 when you bought it 10 years ago, and now it's worth $800,000. So you got a $600,000 capital gain there. If you were to dispose of it, you'd have the difference between your cost and your proceeds is your capital gain. So you got a $600,000 capital gain there. Why did that happen? Well, your rental home probably didn't actually become more valuable. The thing that happened there is that the government decided to print 40% of the total money supply during that 10 years. And every dollar they print makes your dollars worthless. The current assets, everything gets bumped up in values because our dollar is worth less. The thing that we're valuing everything against is worth less. The rental house didn't become more valuable. The dollar became worth less. So the government created this issue, and now all of a sudden they want to tax you for their problem that they caused. And think about that. If you had a $600,000 gain, you have to pay tax on that under this unrealized gain bullshit. And don't get me wrong, I don't think that anybody should be paying capital gains because of that reason. The government created the problem. But in this, at least when you pay a capital gain on a disposal, so let's look at the flip side of that. You actually sold the rental home. So you have in your bank account now $800,000. You can pay tax on that $600,000 capital gain. In this case, you still have the rental home. You don't have any of the cash, the proceeds from it. And you're going to have to come up with like, I don't know, $100,000 to pay off the tax on that. Who has $100,000 kicking around that they want to give to the government? This is the dumbest, most outrageous thing that they could ever propose. And you have Kamala's top economic advisor out there explaining why it just makes sense. I mean, we already have things like this property tax, which is another one of the biggest scams ever. It's insane. These people are actually insane. And I did not mean to get fired up here on the show today, but sometimes it just happens when I listen to idiots speak. All right. Let's take a breath here. Okay, what I still can't see I know that my Path to Fire is in the chat today because he's apt, but for some reason I cannot see his messages. It's very annoying because I see that somebody was trying to watch on Zap.stream and it worked because my Path to Fire gave a suggestion on how to do it, but I can't see what the suggestion is. I don't know. Plunger says, Joe, mind is blown at that capital gains explanation. The property probably didn't gain in value as the dollar becoming less valuable. I never heard it that way. That's the most disgusting thing about it. Is that nothing, they're taxing people on gains as if it's actually more valuable now. It's not. And if you compare it to Bitcoin, it's actually gone down in value. It's so crazy and so insane that they're even proposing this. And the other part too is that as Plunger, as an example here, he's aware of what's happening in the world. He's aware of what's happening in the old system, how corrupt it is, all that kind of stuff. And there's still people like him who are just kind of, this is just clicking for them now. So imagine like the 1% or less than 1% of people who understand what's going on here. But then, think about how many people have no idea what that even means. And they're just going to write the government a check if this goes through. I doubt it will, but it's so crazy to me. Okay, well, before we go here, I talked about this. I talked about this at the start of the show, but what I want to propose to people here, I was just thinking about this yesterday, because every day we come on the show and there's people in the YouTube chat, there's people in the Zap stream chat. And I love that. It's what makes the show what it is. Words are hard. It's what makes the show what it is. But I know that there's a lot of people who can't catch the show live and can't be in the chat, or are just watching the show and, being quiet. Art. So what I want to propose today is that if that is you, if I just described you, you're either watching this and not saying anything or listening to this later, I want you to shoot me an email. And this isn't going to be a big priority for me. Don't expect to get an answer back within 24 hours, but just shoot me an email. And if you want to remain private, just create a new email address and send it to me. Just let me know, like, where you're from, about kind of what age range you're in, what your goals are in Bitcoin, what you do for a living. And I think that having that information will be very valuable for the show going forward, because I want to use some of that information to try to tailor for the audience here, for who's watching the show, what kind of content we're making. Because when you're doing things every day, it's not easy to just come up with things. So I want you to do that. And if you're concerned, like I said, if you're concerned with your privacy, just create a new email address, just like jklyt@proton. You don't have to include your name. If you think I'm a federal agent, then skip it. I mean, if you've come to that realization about me, then skip it. But for those people who can't make it to the live shows and actually want to have some sort of influence in the direction of this channel and the show, then just shoot me an email. 88sats@proton.me. Let me know where you're from. You can just use country, approximate age, what your goals are in Bitcoin, and just whatever else you want to share. It'll really help with the direction of the show going forward. So I encourage you, if you don't hear back from me, it's not because I didn't read it. It's just, I probably won't make it a priority to try to respond to people unless there's something that really jumps out to me. But let me know. Let me know. I would love that. And again, if you don't hear back from me, that does not mean I didn't read it. I just won't, I won't be replying to everybody, but I'll see it. All right. What else we got here? AD says 74% of Americans are obese. Probably 94% of Americans are obese. Been to America? I was in America one time, and there was at a truck stop when we drove to Florida. We actually slept at a couple truck stops, which is wild, in the vehicle. But we stopped at a truck stop, and we were there. We had to call somebody here in Canada. There was something going on. So Bridge was talking on the phone, and I was just kind of hanging out, watching people. And you would not believe the amount of people. This was at like 8 a.m. We slept at this truck stop and went in to make a phone call. There was people in there at 8 a.m. They would go grab a breakfast sandwich from the hot area. They'd grab a large coffee with a bunch of cream. They'd grab a donut. They would grab a fucking Slurpee or a Coke at 8 a.m. plus. And they'd grab a couple of packs of cigarettes. And it's just like, what is going on here? How could you ever live like that? But that's what's happened. We've moved into this society where the cheap things are what people will buy because they can't afford to eat healthy. They don't have time to plan and eat healthy. It's wild. Yeah, cold deck. This is Ozempic in a nutshell. Just take a pill and keep continuing to eat shit. Like, so much could be cured by just the food that we eat. We don't need any pills. One Lambo. Did I miss something here? Oh, I did miss a couple. Locks Guy, good morning. Crypto Shrimp, good morning. Hope we're having a great Thursday. It is a great Thursday today. Anton, Digital Arc. Rick says, I'll take help if I absolutely need it, but I don't want to be dependent on somebody else to live. That's kind of where I am. And it's kind of it is what it is. But for me, like I talk so much bad about our government. And so I would feel like such a hypocrite. They have this carbon tax in Canada. I think there's 3 taxes now, but you pay it on pretty much every item at the gas station, but it affects every price we have because everybody's paying it. So when the food companies and all the products companies, they have to pay this. So then their costs go up. So everybody's paying it. But then Trudeau sends out these carbon tax rebates to people every couple months. You get like $200 or $300 in the mail from Uncle Castro. And I've never cashed one of those checks before. They've been coming out for like the last 3 years. I pay carbon tax because I don't have a choice, but I'm not taking any money from them. Never again. I paid into CPP. I paid into EI. I paid into carbon tax. I'm not taking one more penny from the federal government, and I should, but I'm not gonna, because that would be very hypocritical of me. But as Rick says here, there are people who need it for different reasons, and there should be nobody on earth who can't put food on their plate. Not in Canada, not in America, not anywhere. Rock and Roll says the biggest threat to Western countries is the sick care system we got. Yes. Majority of population are 70% pre-diabetic and they don't even know about it. It is the biggest problem. And somebody said that on NOSTR the other day too. We talk about the money. I mean, the money is the reason for that. But like the health and the sick, like we're just such a sick society right now. All right, let's we're gonna hop over here. Sorry, everybody. I can't get through all the comments here. We're gonna move over. Mark says, what is the first thing you think about when we are finally on a Bitcoin standard? Ooh, that's a good question. The first thing I think of is, as Rock and Roll here said, it's abundance. And we're going to move there. A lot of people aren't going to have a clue that we're moving there right now. Just like in 1971, when Nixon took the US off the gold standard, nobody knew what that meant. Nobody knew the implications of that. Slowly, their lives just got worse over time. And we're going to see the exact same thing here with Bitcoin. We're going to move on to this. We're slowly going to move on to this Bitcoin standard. The majority of people aren't even going to have a clue why things are just slowly getting better. So the pendulum is going to shift back to sanity, to abundance here. And I don't know what's going to happen in 100 years from now or 1,000 years from now, but we're in that place now where we're getting out of that system onto a Bitcoin standard, and we're going to go places, and people aren't going to understand why things are getting better. Things are improving around us, and it'll take a while to play out, but that's what I think of as just like a very low time preference on things. Materials are going to get better. The food is going to get better. Our relationships are going to get better. Think about how much stress the financial system causes couples. How many people end up in divorce because of the fiat, because of the financial stress put on them by the system. Think about how many kids, who would have otherwise been raised in a perfectly healthy family dynamic, but because the fiat system creates so much stress on people, it tore mom and dad apart. Like, those are the things that we're going to get back. And it's going to take time, but we're going to get there. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to jump over to quickly. Are we going to? Yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to jump over to the second part of the show. So if you want to join, you can go to the YouTube channel, click join Bitcoin Journeyman, or go to, in the show notes, it says Living in the Future, join the $5 Living in the Future tier. We're going to go watch a video on NOSTR and talk about it. So everybody, thanks for being here today. We'll see you right back here tomorrow morning. Join us if you'd like to. And if not, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.